Is anyone here for the first time? Oh, many. Okay, nearly everyone. Okay. Thank you for coming. This is Hare Krishna Valley. If you haven't realized that at this point in time, this is Hare Krishna Valley. So, some people were asking me before the program about the history of this place. So I'll begin with the discussion about the history of this place. So maybe whoever's got the shaky instruments, if we can just put them down. Yeah, that's good. It's a little distracting for you. We also have a kids room just at the back, and you can hear the discussion. So if any of the kids, if you're restless, you can also go there, and you can still hear everything, which is nice. So this place began 5,000 years ago. Because the ancient teachings were first given to us, according to our tradition, 5,000 years ago in India, by Krishna himself. This is our main book. It's called the Bhagavad Gita. Has anyone heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, many of you have heard of the Bhagavad Gita. In India, it's like the Bible of spiritual knowledge and spiritual life. So our understanding is that Krishna himself, God himself, came to earth 5,000 years ago. And he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, which is like a guidebook for humanity. And he started a spiritual revolution of uplifting people's consciousness to a higher platform. Basically, in this world, we find ourselves in this world, and this world is temporary. It is called, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's called Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means temporary. Who is the oldest person in this room? How long can someone live for in this world? Yeah, oldest person in this room might be 70, 80, something like that. If you're lucky, you'll live to 100. A friend of my family, he's turning 100 this Friday. Hopefully. Okay, this Friday. So it's rare that someone lives to 100. But our lives are temporary. Everything is temporary in this world. But according to the Bhagavad Gita, there is another world. And that world is not temporary. That world is eternal. And that world is full of knowledge and bliss. This world is the opposite. It is not eternal, it is temporary. It is not always full of knowledge. There is a great amount of ignorance here also. And it is not always full of bliss. It is sometimes dukkhalaya. Dukkhalaya means there's some misery. Has anyone here had misery in their life? One or two? Everyone else has attained enlightenment. Those who have been here this weekend for the Ecstatic Festival, they're feeling very blissful. And we want that vibration to continue. But life does not always work like that, because life is not in our control. Sometimes the tsunami will come of its own accord, and you can't stop it so easily when it's coming. So that's this world. It is called Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. It is temporary, a certain amount of misery. So when Krishna came here, he told us there's another world which we're aiming for. And Krishna, God, you've seen all the pictures around the room, the blue personality. Just like we had the Ecstatic Festival, everyone was dancing and singing. Our understanding of God is someone who dances and sings. You see in all the pictures, he's dancing, he's singing, he's playing his flute, having picnics by the river. That's how we see God, the Supreme. He's like the original hippie. He's just fully absorbed. His hair is long. He wears feathers in his hair. I saw everyone this week, everyone's putting feathers in their hair. And it all started with Krishna. He was the first to do it. And now we all do it in following in his footsteps. Because we like to be free, we like to be happy, we like to dance, we like to chant. Just like we're all dancing and chanting then, many of us. Did you enjoy that? Dancing and chanting? Yeah. This is antidepressant. The World Health Organization says 1 in 2 people on the earth right now has a mental disease. That's half of us. Right? Depression, anxiety, the list goes on. Chanting Hare Krishna is antidepressant. If you're depressed while you're chanting, we'll give you your money back. No problem. Put your hands in the air for me for one moment. How do you feel?
Sweaty.
Sweaty? Very good. Maybe go a little further. A little bit deeper. How do you feel? Good. Yeah. Positive, right? Like that. You can't feel depressed when you're like this. That's antidepressant. Right? If you're feeling depressed, just put your hands in the air, start dancing and chanting Hare Krishna around your kitchen table. You can do this at home. We do it all the time. I mean, all of you are here this weekend, so I haven't been doing it so much, but sometimes if no one's here, you'll see me just off going through the paddock by myself, my hands in my air, just chanting Hare Krishna, myself and the kangaroos. Sometimes I get them chanting with me. So, Krishna came, he taught us this. He said, he came to this world, he said, this is temporary. You actually belong back in the other world with me, having picnics and dancing and chanting. And then he left his telephone number, just in case you want to get in contact. Does anyone know what the telephone number is?
Chanting.
Yeah, directly to God, to Krishna.
Chanting.
Yeah, it's the Hare Krishna mantra. What we were just chanting before. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a direct line. He listens. When you chant, he listens. He hears. He looks down. Who is down there in Bambara? Who is chanting now? Oh, they look very ecstatic. The ecstatic festival is boiled over into our chanting, into our temple room. And it's spilling out, spilling out, spilling in. This is the methodology to reconnect. It is called yoga. The word yoga means union. To unite, to connect. This is union. It's called bhakti. Bhakti means with love or devotion. It's the way to connect to God, to Krishna, through love and devotion. And according to the Bhagavad Gita, these ancient teachings, that's the goal of life. To reconnect with Krishna, with God, in love and devotion. Okay. So 5,000 years ago, this teaching was given. And then 500 years ago, according to our tradition, it says that Krishna reappeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you look in history books, he's a saint who's spoken about from Bengal. And it's said that he actually appeared in this world. He's a historical figure. No worries. Thank you for coming. So, he appeared 500 years ago. It's said that God himself appeared. He's a historical figure. I mean, in history books they don't say that was God, but they say it was a great saint, a great person. And he came to teach this chanting of Hare Krishna. He made it popular again in India 500 years ago. That's him up there in the main altar in the center. And then for the last 500 years it was practiced in India. We're an Indian-based tradition and philosophy. And then in 1965, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada, who is our guru, he's on the seat of honor, or his picture's there. He left this world in 1977, around about 40 years ago or so. But he brought these teachings to the West. So in 1965 he arrived in America with $8 in his pocket and a trunk full of his books. And then within 12 years he created 100 temples around the world, farming communities like this, restaurants, Hare Krishna communities and temples all over the world. Millions of his books were distributed around the world. They've been translated into nearly every language in the world now. And he initiated around about 10,000 followers. And then since he left the world, and we've continued these teachings to spread these ancient teachings of India, the Vedic knowledge, around the world. And now we have, I think, around 600 temples around the world, nearly every country in the world. Wherever you go, Hare Krishna restaurants are nearly everywhere, especially in Australia, especially on the Gold Coast. Have you been to the Gold Coast? Like every 10 minutes is a Hare Krishna restaurant. For us, it's kind of like Nirvana. Just drive every 10 minutes, you know, have your entree at Burley Heads and just drive up to Broad Beach and you have your dessert. And so it's pretty good. So, And now it's spread all around the world. And then this farm is the Hare Krishna movement's rural property. When we built this property, when we bought this property, before we had this farm, we had another farm up near Renmark, which is up in the top of South Australia. We had 20,000 acres on the Murray River. And everyone felt it was a little bit too far away. It was 7 hours from Melbourne, 4 hours from Adelaide. So they sold that farm, which was, good in some ways, but also, it would have been nice to have 20,000 acres. But, not as many people would probably come, because it's a long way away. But it was beautiful property. And we grew, like, hundreds of acres of watermelons and rock melons and all sorts of things. And then they sold that farm, and they brought this farm in 1987. It's about 200 acres. Yeah. And when they brought this farm, they built this school. So this building right now is actually a school. It's a Hare Krishna school for our kids. So this school ran for about 10 years here. And then after 10 years, the government was closing small schools in country Victoria. So we lost our funding. And then everyone, most of the community moved up to Byron Bay. We have another farm up there at Mawalumba. And the school up there has been running for about 40 years. And we have, even to this day, we have about 70, 80 kids in that school. So this closed, and then there was nothing happening here for about 10 years. And then I arrived here with Manigriva. Manigriva is my friend. He was the one who was chanting before. He's got that loud voice. He used to be a punk rock singer back in the 90s in New Zealand. Now he's a Hare Krishna punk rock singer. When he sings, he really kind of gets into it. So we moved down here about 10 years ago, and when I got here, this was just a classroom. So then we renovated it, took down all the blackboards and turned it into like a temple room. And now we use it for retreats. We run our own retreats, and then other people hire the space off us. And our lovely friends came this weekend from the Ecstatic Festival in Melbourne, spreading their ecstasy. And they came down here to hire the space also. So we're very happy to have them here. Every weekend, practically, someone's coming or hiring the place, small groups or large groups or something. We also run our own retreats, so now it's a retreat centre. So we try to make it as much like a temple as we can. Like that. Yeah, it's got a nice feel. The atmosphere of this place has got a nice feel, some people say. Many people think. Because this is a place of protection. It's one of the only places in Australia where everyone is sacred and everyone is protected. We have our cows and our bulls. You might have seen them as you drove in. There's 19 of them. They all have names. They're part of our family. They're born here. They die here. Right? Everyone is safe here. The kangaroos are safe. The cockatoos are safe. And they're a little bit annoying, but they're safe. Humans are safe. We will not eat any of you. You will not be part of our Sunday feast. If you behave yourself. Everyone is safe here, and that's why there is a sacred atmosphere here. Because there is respect for all life. Insects, plants, animals, birds, beasts, humans, everything is gods, everything is respected here. So that's a little history about this place. So usually we take some questions. So if anyone has any questions you'd like to ask, anything you'd like to know about our lifestyle, our beliefs, our anything, then you're welcome to ask if you have any questions. Any more questions? There's something. Did you put your... No, okay. Yes, madam.
What age did you become a Hare Krishna?
Myself? I was 19.
How did you get into it?
How did I get into it? Yeah. I grew up in Melbourne, in Eltham, like on the other side of Melbourne, like that. Myself and my brother, we grew up there. And we had a pretty normal life. We played tennis and football and went to school and just lived quite a normal life. But I always had something in me, which was like a calling for something higher or something deeper in my life. When I was a kid, I was about 6 years old, I used to watch Kung Fu. Anyone remember Kung Fu? Yeah. maybe the older members, people, I'm 49, so my age and around that age. There was a show called Kung Fu, right, with David Carradine back in the 70s. Like that. So you can look it up on YouTube instead. So when he was a kid, he was called Grasshopper. And he used to have bald head, and he lived as a monk in a monastery. And I remember watching him when I was about 6, and I used to think, that's me. One day I'll have shaved head and I'll wear robes and I'll live in a monastery. And so it was always something within me. But then, when you get older and you get to your teenage years and you start, looking at the world and trying everything. And so I got distracted, as most of us do, distracted by the world. But then there was a few life events. I lost one of my brothers, tragically, and had some relationships which did not work out. I was in love, but then they broke my heart, and same old story. That probably most of us have experienced at some point in time. So by the time I was about 18, 19, I was starting to look back within myself, and that spiritual yearning was calling me once again. So I left school, I went to high school in Melbourne, and then I started studying acting, and I did some modelling to make money. And then I used to wake up in the morning feeling there's got to be more to life than this. I just wasn't feeling like complete. So I started reading everything Eastern, Buddhism, Baha'i, everything, and then I read the Hare Krishna books. And then when I started reading it was like everything that I knew inside of me, but I could not express, it was all there on the pages. So when I read it, I thought, wow, this is, it was a little, I was taken aback. I thought, wow, this is like, I know all this, but I can't say it, but I know it. But even still, after reading the books, I still had some material desires. I wanted to become a world-famous actor. So I was studying in Melbourne with John Ruddick from the Actor Studio in New York. So I was, studying acting and had a few other things I wanted to do, aspirations. But after about 6 months, I hadn't become a world-famous actor, and things weren't happening. So I thought, I'll go and check out the Hare Krishna temple. And then I walked in there, in Albert Park in Melbourne. And then when I walked in, there was monks walking around, and everyone was very peaceful. And there's like an inner satisfaction. And I thought, wow, I'm back home. So I met the head monk, and I said, I want to move in. And he said, well, you just walked in, you can't just move in. And I was like, who's this guy? And I said to him, I'm going to come here every day. So you either let me live here, or I'm just going to come every day anyway, so it didn't save me driving home. He said, okay. So get your things. So I went home, got my thing, told my mother. And she had a little bit of a, oh my God, what are you doing to your mother? She actually said to me, it was interesting, she said, I'll buy you a plane ticket right now to anywhere in the world if you don't do this. I walked home and I said, Mum, I'm going to be a Hare Krishna. She's like, you can't do this to your mother. What about your life? Because it's a big thing for your child to come home and say he's going to become a Hare Krishna. Maybe not so much now, but back then, 40 years, 30 years ago, it was like, So, she didn't know what it meant, if she's going to lose me or ever see me again, or what it meant, or, I'm going to go into like a vow of silence for 10 years, or, she didn't know, so she's a little scared. So I just said to her, this is what I'm going to do. So then I went and did it. And now she actually said to me a few years ago, she said, don't stop doing this. She said to me, she said, don't stop doing this. She calls me the insurance policy. For the family, I'm like the insurance policy. She says, I'm close to God, close to Krishna, so if anything happens, you're the insurance policy. So yeah, I keep doing it. I like doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it anyway. But for my mother, I'm her insurance policy. So that's my dedication. So that's how I became a Hare Krishna. Everyone's got their story. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, madam. Sorry, I can. This is a small community. Yeah, we've got many farms, many communities around the world. In our other farm in Murwillumbah, which is up in near Byron Bay in northern New South Wales, there's probably about 70 or 80 people living there. On this farm, there's only 2 families full-time. There's myself, my wife and my daughter, and Manigriva, who is the punk rock Hare Krishna superstar. Him and his wife and daughter live on the other side of the farm. He lives over near the cows, I live up here. And then everyone else is living here like on a voluntary basis. So people come and go. Like we have like a volunteer program. So people come and stay here and then they go. Some people stay for 6 months at a time. Some people stay for 1 week. Like that. Just like Michaela, you came for how long?
Week.
1 week?
Yeah.
It was only a week?
Yeah.
Okay. Felt like you're here for a month or something. She leaves such an impact wherever she goes. Yeah, she's very cool. She came over and stayed for a week, and then yeah, Aaron, I think he's in the kitchen now. Yeah, he's cooking. So yeah, he's here for about 6 months or longer at the moment. So people come and stay. So it's just a very small community, like in terms of full time. But then we have people that come all the time. Yeah, every weekend practically there's a retreat or something going on, or an ecstatic dance festival, or something. There's always people here. So I actually enjoy it when it's quiet, when there's no one here, but it hardly ever happens. When there's no one here, I'm kind of like, oh, awesome. I've got the place to myself, and then someone turns up, and it's like.
So if people stay for a week, do they?
Sorry, you just have to speak.
If people stay for a week, do they spend that week learning about things?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Usually when people come to volunteer, we start about 9 in the morning. Usually we go over to the garden, like pick all the vegetables. There are a lot of vegetables coming up at the moment. So we go out, we pick vegetables, all organic, everything's organic here. And then you go and take care of the cows, clean up their poo, and which is like they're living in a 5-star hotel. People go and clean up their poo. I mean, who else gets that? The cows get served on hand and feet. And then just whatever else is going on. If we have retreats or we're setting up for a festival or something, then we just start working on that. Or then you learn to cook in the kitchen. And then we get together during the week and we do some like chanting like we did before, and we discuss Bhagavad Gita and things like that. And then you're around us all the time, so people just ask questions, and you learn quite a bit when you're here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just having exactly that, having you guys around to just talk, have conversations whenever was just really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Michaela likes to get deep and meaningful like that, so it's a good place for her. Like that. She's asking really good questions. She's very close to enlightenment now, so it's like close. Like that, so, yeah, so people just come and hang out. And it's very relaxed here, very relaxed. But I mean, at the same time, there's a lot to do. So it's like we're always busy like that, but it's kind of like a relaxed busy. Like that, so it's a nice place. If you want to come and stay, just let us know. You are welcome in our place. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How does the life of Hare Krishna make a difference in the world?
How does it make a difference in the world? The Hare Krishna movement, or you're Hare Krishna, you can answer if you want. You want me to answer? Okay. How does the Hare Krishna movement make a difference in the world? I would like to think it makes it's a positive influence on the world. One of our main teachings is vegetarianism. There's a lot of hungry people on the planet right now. 1 in 8 people tonight will go to bed hungry. That's only for one reason, right? Mismanagement of resources. Because there's enough food to feed all of us. Just India? Are you from India? Yeah, so welcome. So India itself, these are the statistics, right? The landmass we call India, which is like, if you look at the globe, it's not that big compared to the landmass. India itself can grow enough food for 6 times the population we have right now. Right now. Well, we have 7 billion or something. So we're talking about 35 billion or something. Just India. That's just India. So there's no such thing as hunger. That's just a mismanagement of resources. Now, the main reason is because people are eating meat. Not everyone, we don't, but a lot of people want to eat meat. And anyone who's done a little bit of research, the statistics. The amount of water it takes to feed a cow for 6 months, 12 months while it grows And then the amount of water and the amount of grain that you've got to feed to the cow, if you used all that water and grain to feed human beings, at the end, you use thousands of, I can't remember all the statistics, but so much water and grain to produce like a couple of pounds of flesh, beef, whatever. We could use all that resource just to feed all the hungry people. So it's just mismanagement. So what's the Hare Krishna movement doing? One thing we're doing is teaching people to be vegetarian or vegan, because then we can sustain the world. Not just 7 billion of us, we can have more kids, who cares? Have as many kids as you want. Have 30 kids each. We'll feed everyone, but we've got to change the way we live. That's the point. So I'd like to think that we're having a positive impact on that. I think we're one of the leaders of the vegetarian movement. Now the vegan vegetarian movement's really gaining momentum. Forbes magazine, has everyone heard of Forbes magazine? It's a business magazine. I read it every week. Not really. Maybe I should start reading it. I don't read it. But Forbes magazine for 2019, because they always give their predictions of the industries to invest in, right? They said one of the biggest industries to invest in 2019 is the vegan movement, because it's growing by 20% per annum at the moment around the world. Vegan, vegetarian, you make the choice. But so I think we're one of the leaders. Now the world's everyone's starting to do it, but we've been doing it since 65 in the West. What's it?
Number 3.
We're number 3?
After China and Israel.
Yeah, country, but I'm talking about the Hare Krishna movement itself. Yeah, Australia is the 3rd biggest vegan nation on the planet at the moment. So it's going off in Australia, as you know, because you cook. Nitai's our, when we do cooking retreats here, we're doing a cooking retreat at the beginning of April. He's our chef. He's a master chef. He's cooked in the Hyatt and many famous kind of restaurants around the world. Then he comes here to Hare Krishna Valley to teach us how to cook also. Gives us vegetarian cooking secrets. So he's a world-famous chef. So that's one way that I think we influence the movement. Another way that we influence the world is, I think, setting an example and teaching people how to be peaceful and happy. I think most Hare Krishna people are usually peaceful and happy. That's our job description. Be peaceful and happy. All the time. Yes. So, yeah, I think we do that in general. I think, we spread that kind of vibration around the world. I'd like to think that we spread like that. What else do? We teach people what the meaning of life is, on a higher level, what the actual meaning, as I said before, to connect to Krishna, to God. That's, the higher principle according to our teachings. So I think there's many things. Maybe you can add some things, but I think there's many things we do which are fairly positive. I think we're a positive impact on the planet. If we're not, you can have your money back. But I think in general we're quite positive. So. Any other questions? Yes, madam.
Is it possible to see some of your practices?
Sorry, I can't hear.
Is it possible to see some of the practices today, like the cows and the organic farming and?
Is it possible to see it? Yeah. When we finish our discussion, we'll have a vegetarian. Actually, it's a vegan feast today. It's all vegan. If anyone's vegan, then it's 100% vegan today. So after we have our vegan feast, anyone who wants to join us, we'll go and visit our cows over at the Goshala, the cow barn on the other side, and you can pat them and you can get to know them like that, and you can feed them also. And then our organic vegetables are just beyond that. They're on the other side of the property. So yeah, if you want to see all those things, we can show you. That's part of the package. Free tour of our cows and our organic vegetables.
It's a learning for us too.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again, the reason the world is hungry and the reason people are finding it difficult for all of these things is because we're not living naturally anymore. Humanity is meant to live like this, in rural areas, right? Cities are only for a small amount of the population. If you go back in history, most of the population were not in cities. If you look at the modern world, most of the population are in cities. It's not the way we're supposed to live. When America was founded 250 years ago, 97% of the population in America were farmers. Now 1% are farmers. That's the difference. So we're living artificially now. Everyone wants to live like before. People came to me, oh, can we get your ahimsa milk? Can we get your non-violent milk from your cow? No, you can't. Because the cows don't produce like enough for everyone here. They're cows. They're not like machines. They don't just pump out milk all the time, you know. They're just cows. So, you know, if people want to have the milk, they want to live in the cities and, you know, have their big plasma televisions and live in their apartments and live this artificial way of life, you know, and have all our electronic conveniences and, you know, that kind of lifestyle. But then they want organic food and they want all these. It doesn't work like that. If the world, if we're going to sustain the world, people are going to have to start living out, getting their hands dirty again, and living naturally. Just like Prabhupada, who's the founder of our movement, in 1975, I think it was, he was in Surat in India. You know Surat? It's in Gujarat. Yeah, it's in Gujarat. So it's on the western side of India. So he was walking, he was on a walk. And when he's walking through the field, there was people, farmers. And he said, what are they growing? And they said, Prabhupada, tobacco. And he said, why do they grow tobacco? He said, so they can pick the tobacco and then send it thousands of miles to the factory, and then they will send them back money so that they can buy their vegetables. And Prabhupada said, why don't they just grow vegetables? The necessity is food. What are the things we need in life? Food, shelter, some clothing. All that comes from the earth, right? And we're so intelligent now, we all go and live in concrete in the cities, right? Away from food, you know, all the natural things in life. And then we say, oh, I want organic. No, it's not sustainable. It's not going to work. So unless people start making a change in the way they live and their perspective, it's not going to work. So that's one of the reasons we live like this. We're trying to teach people how you can live with animals. A lot of people are going vegan these days because the milk in the supermarkets is coming from cows which are slaughtered. So we're showing people, no, you can live here with the cows. You can take the milk naturally. It's not exploitation. They like to give it out of love, right? They're part of our family. It's an exchange, right? And they do it out of a motherly feeling of maternalness. And they're protected. And they live here happily for their whole lives. So we're teaching people you can live like this. It's actually quite nice. I know it's strange, but it's nice. That's a very good question. Yes, madam.
Is the milk supply up? If they don't, do they regularly give the milk supply up?
Yeah, when they calve, there's always, you know, there's 13 girls in the herd. So as they calve, then, you know, there's always someone who's calving, having a baby, and then milk is coming.
And where does the calves work?
The calves live here.
The baby one, so your birds constantly.
They're born here, they die here. Yeah, we're doing it in a sustainable way. We're not just like letting them all breed, you know, as fast as they can. We do it gradually. So every year we have 2 or 3 calves, and then sustainably over like a 40-year period or a 20-year period, the herd will grow to about 40, and then as cows pass away and new calves are born, it stays on a sustainable level. You have to manage these things. You can't just do it unlimitedly. And if there's no milk there, then we don't have milk. What's the big deal? And the milk's there, you have milk. So it's an advantage. We don't keep the cows just for milk. That's exploitation. We don't know. We keep them here because we love them. They're part of our family. Like our dog, Bronte. You see Bronte running around? She's part of our family. She's sleeping. Yeah.
She's not running.
Yeah, she ate too much yesterday. There's 150 people here and everyone was feeding her.
She's digesting today.
I saw her yesterday. She's going around all the tents. I saw her yesterday. She's doing like this circuit of all the tents. Everyone was feeding her and she's going to the next one like, oh, I didn't have anything to eat. Like that. So I think she's OD'd and now she's sleeping out the back. Oh my God. What can I do with these dogs? Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more when you said that like Krishna came and he left his telephone number for us to communicate with him? Like, elaborate a little bit more about
Which part?
the mantra, how we can try to connect.
About the telephone number? Yeah, elaborate about that. Yeah, God's telephone number. Okay, so God's telephone number. We'll elaborate a little bit more. So there's 3 words in the telephone number: Hare, Krishna, and Rama. Right? So if you look at the picture in the back, in the middle, you see Krishna. He's on the right, our right. He is the bluish cowherd boy, and next to him is Radha. That's his eternal consort. She is the supreme goddess. She is Mahalakshmi. So she is the ultimate feminine energy. He is the ultimate masculine energy. So it's like yin and yang. It's like the perfect balance. So we don't worship just the masculine. We worship the feminine and the masculine together, divine. It's different to what's in this world. When men and women get together in this world, the energy of selfishness and lust usually overcomes the consciousness. You know, lust means I want something for myself. It doesn't just mean sex, but it just means something I want for myself. And what happens in their relationship, it's based on pure, unadulterated love. There's no exploitation. She just wants to give to him completely. He just wants to serve her completely. So it's perfect love. So Radha and Krishna, God and his consort. When we chant the mantra, Hare refers to Radha, the female energy. She comes first because the feminine energy is softer. So we approach the feminine first. Just like when you're a kid, if you do something naughty, you go to your mother. Generally. Because your mum's like, oh, it's okay. Your dad's like, where's that kid? So we approach, generally we approach Radha first, we approach Hare. And then Krishna and Rama. Krishna means one who is attractive to everyone. God must be attractive to everyone by definition. And Rama means one who gives unlimited pleasure. So that is the meaning of the names. So we chant Hare Krishna. So we're saying Radha, Krishna, Supreme Goddess, Supreme God, Supreme Lord, please give me service. Please let me serve you. And that's the essence of the Hare Krishna movement, is to serve. And we're created to serve. We are the soul. And the soul's only purpose is to serve, to give pleasure to others. And I see these days, like I said, 1 in 2 people have a mental disease these days. You know, depression or something, or anxiety, and then the list goes on and on. Primarily, the reason people have these mental diseases, there's many reasons, but the primary reason is because people are too caught up in themselves. If you get too caught up in yourself, yes, you will become depressed. Pretty much guaranteed. But if you're always thinking of the benefit of others, you haven't got time to be depressed. Like sometimes I think I haven't got time to be depressed because I've got too much to do. I've got to look after people. People are like, there's 200 people here today, I think, or more. So, you know, what am I going to do? Wake up in the morning, oh, I'm having a really bad day. No, I'm not going to get into myself because I haven't got time, because I have to give all of you a meaningful experience. That's my service. I do that out of affection, out of love. And it makes me happy. So if people are there's too much mental disease on the planet, it's mainly because people are too self-absorbed. You know, get out of your self-absorption and start serving others, and you'll feel very different about your life. So that's one message that the Hare Krishna movement tries to also give across. So, any other question? Yes, sir. How many animals have we got on the farm here? Cows. Yeah, but then you've got to go wildlife as well. So we've got 19 cows and bulls. We've got 1 dog. Sorry, we've got 2 dogs. And then we've got unlimited kangaroos. We've got echidnas and sometimes koalas. And a lot of birds, a lot of parrots, king parrots, cockatoos, black cockatoos, kookaburras, like you name it, everyone lives here. And there's a lot of worms. Yeah, I counted the worms a couple of years ago. There's about 14 million worms. And yeah, we've got snakes. They pop up once or twice a year. Like that, just like around the back. My wife was around the back of the house a few months ago, just before we went to India, was it? Just walking around the house, just doing some chanting, you know, meditation, kind of looked down, there was something like kind of black on the ground. So, oh, that's interesting. And then started moving. It's an interesting experience. really makes you focus on your chanting. It's like Krishna.
Did you keep chanting?
Yeah, she called out to me. That's interesting. I'd say that's why we're given names of God, names of Krishna, because my name is Kesava, like that. So we're given those names, so that when you call someone's name, you're actually calling the name of Krishna, you get purified. It purifies the consciousness, uplifts the consciousness. So yeah, she was calling Kesava, just thinking of a snake, but spiritually also making some positive vibrations simultaneously. Yes, madam.
Do you think there will be a shift or an evolution?
I can't hear properly.
Do you think there will be a shift or an evolution in the Hare Krishna community in regards to their diet, shifting from vegetarianism to veganism, because not everyone has access to ahimsa milk. Most devotees are living in the city, and ahimsa milk is only available to a very small percentage of people.
So what's the question?
Do you think there will be do you think that the Hare Krishna movement will be driving towards more of a vegan diet?
If you look at our worldwide vision, our master plan, no. It will be towards ahimsa dairies. That's what we're aiming for. Like you said, an evolution to veganism. Then once you get to veganism, the evolution from veganism is ahimsa. That's higher. Like that. To live with the animals and treat them as sacred, and they give their milk out of love, that's higher than being a vegan. So at this point in time, many people are becoming vegans, probably yourself, I'd imagine you're a vegan, because of this slaughter in the dairy industry, which we all know about. Right? So that's why many people around the world are becoming committed to veganism. But then we're holding our fort here, and the purpose we've got this place is because the whole of Australia could be like this. We don't need a beef industry. We don't need a dairy industry. Everyone could live in a rural way, and they could just milk their cows naturally. Like that. So that's what we're aiming for.
And what to do in the meantime?
What to do in the meantime? You have to make your own choice. Yeah. Everyone has to make their own choice. Many people are protesting by becoming vegan, not buying the product, like that. Some people are protesting by spreading knowledge of veganism. Some people are showing the example, like we're showing. We bring people here. We show them how to look after cows, how to hand milk the cows, how to give birth. Have you ever been there when a cow is born? A calf? Yeah. Like we teach people how to bring a calf into the world. We teach people how to look after them when they're old and they're dying. So we teach all these things. So there's different ways. You've got to choose how you want to spread this knowledge. You want to add something? That's good. Yeah. Any other questions?
Just on that.
Yes,
ma'am. Saying previously that there's more meaning in consuming the dairy as well, Hare Krishna. Did you say that there was more meaning
higher than veganism?
Yeah, no, just consuming dairy. There's a more meaningful meaning why you do consume the dairy, or why Krishna consumed dairy.
Why do we take dairy?
Yeah, there was something else.
Yeah, because milk is the most beneficial food on the planet. It's the most. When we're born, what do we live on? We're sustained by one food for 6 months or 9 months or 3 months or whatever it is. So it is the most beneficial food. And the cow's milk, according to the Ayurveda, the ancient teachings of India, the cow's milk has Shakti in it, has energy in it, potency. And our cows in particular, because they're protected, and they're also gear cows, which means they're from India, they have the hump, they're almost like a mystical animal. Recently scientists have done tests on the milk, and they have traces of gold and silver in the milk. Because the sun, I'm going to get really mystical here, hands up if you like mysticism. Yeah, it's like, there's the ecstasy festivals, everyone's mystical. So I'll get totally mystical for a minute, okay? When the sun's energy hits the hump on the gear cows, or the moon's energy, the moon's light transforms into silver within their body, and the sun's light transforms into gold. And scientists who are totally, you know, just scientists, they're not necessarily spiritual or mystical or anything, they've told us that there are traces of gold and silver in the milk. So, and gold and silver are some of the most powerful medicines on the planet. So if you're taking pure cow's milk, like from our cows, and then transforming it into ghee and yogurt, they have extreme benefits for the body, and especially for the brain of individuals. Okay. So that's some of the benefits of why we drink ahimsa milk. So, nice question. Any other questions? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Question I have, so you mentioned about ahimsa milk and the dairy. What is stopping this becoming another industry in itself? You know, so a lot of people are joining vegetarianism, and I'm pure vegetarian, inclined towards veganism, but a lot of people sort of ask me, hey, where can we get ahimsa? And so it's a supply and demand question, right? So eventually somebody will go, you know what, there's a huge demand, and there's a money to be made here. What are your thoughts on that?
The world's complicated right now. Yeah, one thing I would consider doing if we had more influence on the planet and governing the planet, one thing I would consider doing is taking money out of society. And then we just trade things. So I have vegetables, you have clothes, someone has milk, ahimsa milk, then we can all just trade. And that way it doesn't become so exploitive, and that way it doesn't become so, like you said, it doesn't become an industry. That being said, trade has always been a part of society, of community. Like that. So whether you trade money for goods, which we do these days, or you just trade good for goods, or services for goods, you know, that's up to the individuals how to do it. Like that. So yeah, it's a danger with everything. The world's complicated these days. And then, you know, people do things just to make money, and that's not so good. We try not to do that. You know, we try not to do that. I mean, we make millions of dollars a year. You know, if you look at our society around the world, you know, we've got 600 temples or something in countries all over the world, and like, if you look at our total value, it's probably in billions of dollars. But we try not to make money just for exploitation. You know, we don't do it just for ourselves. Like Prabhupada was our founder. When he was on the planet, he used to live in a grass hut a lot of the time. You know, he was practically a billionaire. He owned the whole Hare Krishna movement himself. It was all under his name. But he lived very simply. So we teach people, we try to teach people and try to set the example of not becoming, you know, greedy and like that. Business is okay. We run businesses. We run restaurants and catering and all sorts of stuff. But, you know, but just do it in an ethical way. Do it compassionately and use the money that you get to do good for others. That's what we try to do. Like, it costs a lot of money to run this farm, right? Like, everyone comes in, oh, it's so beautiful. It costs a lot of money to run this place. Everyone's like, oh, I just want to, you know, does it? No, it costs money. I have to work to run this place, to keep it going, like that. But the labour and the money we make, I try to use that to benefit others. So all of you can come here, you can learn about something spiritual, you can learn about a more natural way of life. So we try to give from our money. So. And Prabhupada used to say, he was the founder of the movement, he said, you give me $1 million today, I'll spend it all by tomorrow. Because he'll just do good for other people. And it's interesting, like we have a magazine here, I'll just, you know, if you want, we've got a free magazine all about the Hare Krishna movement. It tells you all about our movement all over the world, so it's free, you can take it, I'll leave it here. When we're finished, if you want one, just come and take. So this came out a couple of years ago, the Hare Krishna movement was 50 years old a couple of years ago, so I read it because there's things I didn't even know about the Hare Krishna movement, and I'm a Hare Krishna. And I found out from this magazine we're the biggest food distribution organisation on the planet. We feed every day. How many people do we feed every day? 1.2 million people a day on the planet gets fed by the Hare Krishnas. You know, and a lot of the meals are free. In a lot of the countries around the world, a lot of free meals. We feed 800,000 people daily in India. And we have a school program where Hare Krishnas cook food and we take it to the schools, and it's like the school lunch for all the kids, like that. And we feed something like 400,000 kids in India every day, something like that. So that's the way we use our money. So money's not a bad thing, but you have to use it properly. That's good question.
Yes, that's great. We just...
Any other questions? Yes, madam.
Could you please elaborate on bhakti and the different forms of devotional love, please?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, the word bhakti means devotion. Devotion carries love. Love is something which, it's the nature of the soul. We're all spirit, each one of us is a soul. We're spiritual by nature. Love is the nature of the soul. It's natural to love. And that's why a lot of people are not happy these days, because they're not being loved or they're not giving love. Right? If you're always giving love, you're always happy. Right? If you stop giving love, you're not going to be happy. If you receive love, that's like a bonus. That's awesome. We all like to be loved. My hands up if you like to be loved. Anyone, anyone? Bueller, Ferris, anyone? Okay. So we all like to be loved. That's natural. It's not unnatural. You know, don't love me. I don't want to get too close to you. No, it's natural. We all like to be loved. I like to be loved. You know, it's the nature of the soul. Bhakti is the way we express, or what the vehicle which carries that love. So bhakti means devotion. So I do something for you. I say, Michaela, like, come to my house, I'll cook something for you, and I'll give you a nice meal. Or I brought you this nice set of earrings out there in the festival. I didn't actually do this, but I should have done it, but I wasn't together enough. But yeah, I got some of Richard's earrings, and then I gave it. I said it was a gift for Michaela, like that. So that's a way of showing my love, my appreciation. So that's what bhakti means. So bhakti yoga means showing that love or that appreciation to God, to Krishna. So then one will say, well, how do you do that? My uncle, he passed away a few years ago. We were quite close. He lived in Tasmania. He lived very similar to the way I live. He lived off-grid and had his own little property in Tasmania. And I went to stay with him about 10 years ago or so. And he came one morning, and I was doing my chanting. And we chant Hare Krishna, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. It's like our meditation. And he walked in the morning. He had a good sense of humour. He just go Ram, 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 Ram. I get around, Ram, 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 Ram. So it reminded me of the Beach Boys, my channel. So it's cool. So we used to have fun together. And then he said to me one morning, because he was a real philosopher, he used to think very deeply about things. And I gave him pictures of Krishna. He used to keep them on the wall in his garage. And look at it every day. And he said he used to pray for me every day. He said, God, please look after Kesava. And then I was explaining to him that bhakti yoga means to serve God, to serve Krishna. And he came to me one morning. He almost had tears in his eyes. And he said, I don't know how to serve God, how to serve Krishna. And then I said, well, you came to the right place. We can teach you how to serve God, how to serve Krishna. So just like today, we just cooked, right? I think there's 200 people who are about to have lunch. So we just cooked vegan lunch for 200 people, nice feast, So we just cooked the lunch, then my wife just offered it. She just put the screen there, and she offered the food to Krishna, to a picture of Krishna, to God. So we asked, can you please take this food? That's a way of showing love or devotion. That's bhakti. Otherwise we could just cook and we all just start eating it ourselves. But that's not love. Then we've just done it for ourselves. So we offer it first to God, to Krishna, and then we offer it to everyone else. That's love, that's devotion. You want to add something? You want to add anything? No, thank you. That's cool? Okay. Any other question? Yes, sir?
So, do I have to acknowledge God? Or can I just serve the humanity in general and not acknowledge God? Can that be done?
You're asking as a Hare Krishna, or you're asking as a hypothetical question? Like that. On behalf of others, you're asking that question. Is it okay just to serve humanity? It's nice to just serve humanity. It's nice, but we have to understand what's the best way to serve humanity. Because we have the United Nations, we have the World Health Organization, we have so many institutions around the world, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I see, the problems on the earth are growing, they're not decreasing. So everyone wants to serve, humanity and not like that, but why is it not all coming together? Why is it not, why is it not improving? There's a lot of problems, and as far as I can see, they're growing, not decreasing at this point in history. I'm speaking generically, different places. So I would say, my opinion, I would say that we need to reconnect to Krishna, to God, to the source, and then that will be the best way to serve humanity. Give them spiritual knowledge, enlighten them, bring them to the spiritual platform, and that will solve their problems. So I would say we need to do both. Serving, we feed people. Like I said, we feed millions of people every day, but we don't just feed them, and we also give them spiritual knowledge and teachings, and we try to enlighten people as well. So do both. Any other question? Is anyone hungry? Okay, 2 people. That's good. So the 2 of you, please go. The rest of you will see you next time. No, thank you all for coming. And we'll get to have a nice feast now. So if you just go out, we'll probably line up. And I'll give it to So if you'd like to give a donation, we'll have a basket as we line up. Just put your donation in the basket. That would be appreciated. We'll have a nice feast now, so just line up here and then go that way, and then we'll serve everyone out. After the feast, if you want to come and visit the cows, we'll all go over to the cows together, and you can feed them and you can pat them. Please come again. If you want a free magazine, just come up here. There's some copies there. Thank you very much.